Unity in Diversity, delivered in London, 3rd November 1896, Part 1. The self existent one projected the senses outwards, and therefore a man looks outwards, not within himself. A certain wise one, desiring immortality with inverted senses, perceived the self within. As I have already said, the first inquiry that we find in the Vedas was concerning outward things. And then a new idea came that the reality of things is not to be bound in the external world, not by looking outwards, but by turning the eyes as it is literally expressed inwards. And the word used for the soul is very significant. It is he who has gone inward, the innermost reality of our being, the heart center, the core, from which, as it were, everything comes out, the central sun of which the mind, the body, the sense organs, and everything else we have are but rays going outwards. Men of childish intellect, ignorant persons, run after desires which are external and enter the trap of far reaching death, but the wise, understanding immortality, never seek for the eternal in this life of finite things. The same idea is here made clear that in this external world, which is full of finite things, it is impossible to see and find the infinite. The infinite must be sought in that alone which is infinite, and the only thing infinite about us is that which is within us, our own soul. Neither the body nor the mind, nor even our thoughts, nor the world we see around us are infinite. The seer, he to whom they all belong, the soul of man, he who is awake in the internal man alone is infinite. And to seek for the infinite cause of this whole universe, we must go there. In the infinite soul alone, we can find it. What is here is there too, and what is there is here too. He who sees the manifold goes from death to death. We have seen how at first there was a desire to go to heaven. When these ancient Aryans became dissatisfied with the world around them, they naturally thought that after death they would go to some place where there would be all happiness without any misery. These places they multiplied and called swargs. The word may be translated as heavens, where there would be joy forever, the body would be perfect, and also the mind, and there they would live with their forefathers. But as soon as this philosophy came, men found that this was impossible and absurd. The very idea of an infinite in place would be a contradiction in terms, as a place must begin and continue in time. Therefore, they had to give up that idea. They found out that the gods who live in these heavens had once been human beings on earth who, through their good work, had become gods, and the godheads, as they call them, were different states, different positions. None of the gods spoken of in the Vedas are permanent individuals. For instance, Indra and Varun are not the names of certain persons, but the names of positions as governors and so on. The Indra who has lived before is not the same person as the Indra of the present day. He has passed away and another man from earth has filled his place. So with all the other gods. These are certain positions which are filled successfully by human souls who have raised themselves to the condition of gods, and yet even they die. In the old Rig Veda, we find the word immortality used with regards to these gods, but later on it is dropped entirely, for they found that immortality, which is beyond time and space, cannot be spoken of with regard to any physical form, however subtle it may be. However fine it may be, it must have a beginning in time and space, for the necessary factors that enter into the makeup of form are in space. Try to think of a form without space. It is impossible. Space is one of the materials, as it were, which make up the form. And this is continuously changing. Space and time are in Maya. And this idea is expressed in the line, what is here, that is there too. If there are these gods, they must be bound by the same laws that apply here, and all laws involve destruction and renewal again and again. These laws are molding matter into different forms and crushing them out again. Everything born must die, and so, if there are heavens, the same laws must hold good there. In this world, we find that happiness is followed by misery as its shadow. Life has its shadow, death. They must go together because they are not contradictory, not two separate existences, but different manifestations of the same unit, life and death, sorrow and happiness, good and evil. The dualistic conception that good and evil are two separate entities and that they are both going on eternally is absurd on the face of it. They are the diverse manifestations of one and the same fact, one time appearing as bad and at another time as good. The difference does not exist in kind but only in degree. They differ from each other in degree of intensity. We find as a fact that the same nerve systems carry good and bad sensations alike, and when the nerves are injured, neither sensations come to us. If a certain nerve is paralyzed, we do not get the pleasurable feelings that used to come along that wire, and at the same time, we do not get the painful feelings either. They are never two but the same. Again, the same thing produces pleasure and pain at different times of life. The same phenomena will produce pleasure in one and pain in another. The eating of meat produces pleasure to a man but pain to the animal which is eaten. There has been never been anything which gives pleasure to all alike. Some are pleased, others displeased. So on it will go. Therefore, this duality of existence is denied. And what follows? I told you in my last lecture that we can never have ultimately everything good on this earth and nothing bad. It may have disappointed and frightened some of you, but I cannot help it. And I am open to conviction when I am shown to the contrary. But until that can be proved to me and I can find that is true, cannot say so.